Previously.
1, 2, 3.
X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to X-Debated, the X-Men animated debate show. Number 2. Our former champion, Jamil, he's banned. He may never be seen again.
We killed him.
We killed him.
We did so well, we
for
killed him.
defeating us. So now we've invited Ryan.
You hear that, authorities that are listening? Davin just admitted to murdering another human being. Get him. We'll get him.
Yeah. So last episode, so it's me and Andre again, and we of course have Ryan Jablonski with us. Ryan's out for revenge. We're calling this the Revenge Edition.
Whose camera only works in portrait mode, apparently.
Yeah. He's on his phone, I suspect.
That's an iPad, actually.
Oh, is it? Oh,
there you go. There you go.
Andre, you're a genius. You guys, when you guys put your heads together, you can almost beat me in a debate. So, but that's not how the rules work here. So, how do the rules work here? Well, we have 9 debates, unless there's a tie. We have 60-second debates with a 60-second free-for-all. And, yeah, the debaters are also the judges. So it's a bit of chaos, a bit of politics involved, but it's lots of laughs and lots of fun. And you know what? You get some, pretty significant, thought-provoking debates out of this crazy show sometimes, too, which I think we will hear. There's some philosophical ones on the docket. So we've got no prep time. We all just heard them all 2 seconds ago as I was writing them down. And are you guys excited?
Absolutely.
Cold and different.
Ryan, you're out for revenge.
I'm going to try.
I'm out for revenge as well because, like you, I went back and looked at the first one, and I did not do so well. I got 1 point. Andre and Jamil got 4 points each and needed a tiebreaker. Yeah, so I need to do better.
I don't remember any of that. That was a while ago now.
Yeah, you and Jamil were going toe to toe. I suspect myself and the viewers felt like I won, but
I will say it was a very good show. The debates were pretty fantastic, and I know, like you guys said, even on the show, but a lot of those arguments, I really could have flipped a coin, and it would have been okay either way.
The hardest part is the judging on this show. All right, well, should we get going there, fellas?
Let's do it.
Let's rock.
All right. I'll do mine first here. So, be it resolved, Cassandra Nova is the best character created by Grant Morrison during his X-Men run. Ryan, you will be debating for this, and 4 always goes first on this show.
I knew you would do that. I knew when I heard it that you would not put me in for it, which is fine.
Well, you know every character on that run, so you have a deep well to. I mean, Ryan probably does too. Ryan's read everything, but you think about this run a lot, Andre. You have a deep well to.
Oh, it lives rent free in my head all day.
Exactly. So, yeah, 4 always goes first on this show. Andre, your 60 seconds starts now.
No, I'm not for him. Against. He is.
Oh, sorry, Ryan. Your 60 seconds. Hold on, I'll start the timer over.
Yeah.
Ryan, your 60 seconds starts now. Cassandra Nova is the best. Tell me.
All right, so Cassandra Nova is an idea that shouldn't have worked, but ended up being perfect. She took everything that we thought about Xavier and the evilness that he could do if his powers were unchecked, and went to the next level. I mean, she literally destroyed an island full of mutants just for shits and giggles. Like, she didn't mind doing it. And on top of that, she's come back multiple times. Whether it be through the Krakoan age or even now in the modern times with in the books. And she even made the live action jump into Deadpool Wolverine, where she got to be the big villain there as well. Cassandra is a villain that's here to stay, and I don't think anybody expected it. And you can't say that about a lot of the other characters that came out of that run.
All right, very good. You can see the rest of your time, which is like 2 seconds.
So happy, so entrenched.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Very good. Very good argument. All right, Andre. Why is Cassandra Nova not the best?
Cassandra Nova, albeit an excellent villain, is not the best character that Grant Morrison created in this run. I would argue that the version of the White Queen that we all know and love was totally created by Grant Morrison. What she was before was nowhere near how cool she became later. I think Quentin Quire is perhaps one of the best characters ever created because he was as much a new part of the series, he breathed a lot of life into it and created antithesis to the X-Men's normal way of doing things, but within the team itself. I think Phantom X is such a cool character. He's like an X-Men James Bond spy. I think Barnell Beak was such a cool addition to the team. Glob Herman, Martha Johnson, and I'm a big fan of Zorn. Although, like, Cassandra
Who do you mean?
Cassandra, pardon? Am I done? No, Cassandra Nova only had like 3 issues,
Zorn,
and she was really in it, and then not again until the future at the end when she was actually a good person. So, like, I think that her contribution to the entire run of that series is minuscule compared to all the other characters that endured and lasted.
Wow. This one's really going to come down to the open debate.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fellas, have at each other. 60 seconds.
The one thing, so I agree with a lot of the other characters. I love Quire. I love Beak. I love Phantom X too. I know a lot of these characters that we both like. It's really good. The difference is with Cassandra is that every time she shows up, it's epic, right?
But in Morrison's run, she shows up once in the first 3-issue arc and then dies. She's shot with a bullet and dies.
But we're talking about created in the run, not what just happened in that run.
Well, there's lots of other stuff that created and continued on within that run that was much cooler. I mean, Quentin Quire, I think, had much longer legs than Cassandra Nova. He's been such like the Wolverine, the X-Men miniseries, and all that stuff brought him out to the forefront. The U-Men are so cool too, like these humans that modify themselves in mutant organs. That's such a cool concept. And something that's uniquely different than just a uber powerful mutant. We had lots of those. We have Franklin Richards.
We do, but you know what? We haven't had one. We haven't had one like Cassandra, and I think it's not even so much her herself as what she did. Right, like the destruction of Genosha was a story.
Keep going. 60 seconds more.
It's not that creative though. It's the same as taking any superhero and making the bad guy version of them. It's like it's just taking here's the bad guy version of Professor X. It's not that imaginative. It's not that inventive. It's just kind of here's the dark side of them. It's the Nega Duck to Darkwing Duck. Like here he is with this color slightly different. Like it's not that. Like she's cool and she did a lot of damage. But as far as interesting characters go, that's sustained. It's just an overly powerful mutant.
But that villain version of a character we know is typically a better character. Like Nega.
I don't know. Bizarro's not better than Lex Luthor.
Who's that?
Like I think Bizarro's not better than Lex Luthor. Like just because they're the antithesis of the hero doesn't mean they're more interesting.
Bizarro's the anti-Superman, so like Bizarro's a much more interesting character story-wise.
Oh, I disagree. They just took the opposite and did everything with it. That's all they did with. She didn't even
and
survive in the womb.
I said that's Professor for 50 years.
Professor X killed her in the womb.
Yeah, and then she came back. Like how many babies are sucked into their
how many dead babies? How many dead babies did not reach their full potential by coming back after dying in the womb?
This is incredible. I mean today's climate. I mean, Cassandra Nova will rule the world.
All right. Oh, that was really close, fellas. And Ryan, you had it for most of the debate, and then Andre sort of took it at the end when he kind of turned your own debate back on you a little bit by saying it's not so much because you referenced the same thing. You both said it's not so much the character, but the things the character does. And like you use that as a positive, he used that as a negative, but it's just like,
but you can say like
it was a good counter. It was a good counter.
To me, it's like, you can make a really boring character and blow up the world. They're still a boring character.
Yeah, I think the difference with that was it's and this is obviously not debate time. That the her taking out Genosha is one of the few things from that run that is still consistently brought up. Like it is still such a huge story arc that happened. I mean, hell, they just did it in X-Men '97, obviously not with Cassandra, but like that's such a pivotal moment in mutant history. It's honestly, it's probably the most important thing that came out of the Morrison run, which I also loved. I mean, I know that Davin didn't like it as much. Like, it's hit or miss with me, and I don't like the art. But
there's lots of different artists. It's not just Frank Whiteley for the whole thing.
I know.
Yeah, but we don't want to talk about
Ethan Van Sciver actually did a lot of them too. But we don't really
Yeah, well,
much
Ethan
either.
Van Sciver. I know. I have the signed issue of him before he was really problematic.
Jim Lee did that last 6-part story, didn't he?
Mark Silvestri.
Oh, that's what it was. I always get them mixed up.
But oh yeah. Well, good debate, fellas. I mean, yeah. See, and Andre, you did a good job countering debates there because, like, again, you used another thing that, like, he's the dark side, or she's the dark side.
The negative.
I saw you smile. Andre's just like, that's not a positive either.
I saw you smile when I referenced Negaduck.
I almost lost it when you referenced that. Shit, I can't fight this.
But look, if Andre was going to win a debate tonight, it was going to be the Grant Morrison debate, probably. So let's don't let it get you down. All right. Okay. So Andre, your first one is up next.
All right.
Here it is.
Be it resolved, the X-Men should prioritize saving individual mutants, even if it means sacrificing human lives. All right. Davin, you're against.
Okay.
You think,
so
yeah.
Ryan's
and
up
Ryan,
first.
you're pro. You're pro X-Men should prioritize mutant lives over human lives.
All right.
If there's a villain going to destroy this, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely think that they should. And this is we're going to go with the more of a Magneto's right type of situation, because mutants as a species have on multiple times been on the brink of extinction, right? So the humans who are have been proven time and time again to be violent and actually, I mean, have multiple groups that are out there just to kill the mutants, like. Sometimes you kind of like, what is it? You got to chop down the thorn bush, right? It's they need to be taken out. Whereas opposed to like, if they keep letting these people live, and especially like the purifiers, right? Or like a guy like Stryker, like you let that guy live too long and he's going to kill not just 100, he's going to kill 1,000. He's going to kill 1,000,000. He's going to try to wipe out your entire race. Like that's where the Sentinels came from, a Trask. I mean, these are literally people who are trying to wipe out everybody that you know and love and are just like you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, two things. I don't think the wording of this is that specific. We're not talking about should the X-Men prioritize saving Jubilee over Trask. Yes, they should. That's not what this says. This is should the X-Men prioritize saving Jubilee over like an equivalent, a 15-year-old human girl. And like you save who you can save in that situation. It's two human girls of the same age, save them, like save whatever one you can. It's like that situation, you save you can. But also no, because what they really need is outreach. Like what really the X-Men are striving for is acceptance into just the human society. And if they're constantly like letting humans die just to save their own, that becomes noticeable. Like people don't like the cops for that reason.
Interesting way to end it. I like that. All right, well, let's look for the open debate. Let's go.
I want that on a shirt.
Yeah.
People don't like the cops for that reason.
Do it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, you don't. You just like do the best you can. They're heroes. You save who you can save. And do you try to save the other X-Men? Sure, but like you don't like let humans die to do it. You try to, like, it's like Spider-Man says, no one dies. I mean, they do, but he doesn't like to.
Yeah, I think it's a tough call because you're right. I mean, obviously, if you are Cyclops, you don't want to see anybody die, right? Like that is just the kind of person he is. But if you're looking at a nation of people, right, and say it's 50-50, and you're thinking about your race and the possibility of you going extinct, right, and disappearing, you're gonna have to make a choice. And if the choice is going to be saving ultimately your friends and family over, even humans of the same age or whatever, kids, women, whatever, you're gonna go with your race and your people, because otherwise it could be the end.
Can I have a rebuttal on that point here?
Well, I kind of want to end on Ryan striving for racial purity. I think that's
Fair
advocating. I'm kidding. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, I was just gonna say that as the only American here, Ryan, how is the people looking out for the interests of their race only working out for you, right? You guys right now.
Now, listen, I'm very close to Canada, and I could be there in 20 minutes.
You gotta.
We would accept you with open arms, brother.
Yeah, you got a place to stay here. Oh wow, that's a tough go. That's a tough go. Davin went analytical with like saying,
I got
like my thought, like it's kind of like I like when you were like your whole point was that it's just the optics. It's like, well, sure we can save a human girl. Like if there's a human girl and a like the trolley problem with a human girl and a mutant girl, and you just like make the switch go to hit the human or the mutant, which one would you hit? You're like, well, the optics are bad. We're always prioritizing human lives. But he did make some good points. So I'm going to go with David on this one. Good job, David. Sorry, Ryan.
That's okay.
Ryan's argument was definitely funnier than mine.
It was funny. He's just like, let him die. Kill him off. It's like a human is just someone who hasn't betrayed you yet. They will. Just kill him now.
We're all just Trask alike.
Yeah.
Like, you can't trust him. All right. So, your first one. Ooh, this one. Ryan's got some good ones here for us.
All right, so be it resolved that Larry Houston is as important to X-Men's popularity as Chris Claremont. Oh God. No, I'm gonna go the way that it should be fun. I'm gonna say Andre, you are 4.
Yeah.
That way, because I know you have a little bit more Larry Houston experience, so I'm gonna give you this, and then Devin, you'll be on the Claremont.
It's a hard battle. I got some ideas. Okay. I got some ideas though.
All right.
So I start doing.
Yep.
All right. Anytime you mention X-Men, almost everybody references the X-Men cartoon. In regular conversation with regular people that aren't comic fans, this cartoon comes up way more often, especially on my podcast where I talk to people that do comics. Almost anytime anything comes up, it's usually related to the X-Men animated series of people of a certain age, around my age or slightly younger. This show is what brought the world at large to the X-Men. Because of this show, people were familiar with the versions of Wolverine, Beast, all these characters that we know and love today. I mean, Claremont, it was taking what Claremont did, but the scope of what Fox did with it made it so much wider and broader, and it reached an entire audience well beyond comic fans. And a lot of people tell me that this series is what led them towards the comics, that this series is what brought them in and got them to be comic fans to begin with. So I think the series is equally as important as Claremont because they work hand in hand together and have created a wider knowledge of X-Men across the board.
Before I start, I just want to say, Larry, I love you. Please come on the show.
Larry, talk to me. He's going to badmouth you. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
So I'm not going to disagree with anything my beautiful opponent here said.
Beautiful.
Well, I'm being cordial here. Because he said it himself. He just says, yes, everything that Larry did was based on what Chris did. So the debate is over. Look, when we look back at TAS, everything that we look back at is something that Chris Claremont created. Not just the characters he created, Rogue and Gambit, and most of that roster other than the main 5 and Wolverine. No, he did create Wolverine. No, Len Wein created Wolverine. No, he didn't. But anyway, you get my point. He created the Wolverine we all know and love. And when we look back at TAS on the storylines that we remember the Dark Phoenix saga. Ooh, who wrote that? We remember Days of Future Past. Who wrote that one, I wonder? I mean, who wrote most of the storylines in that? Even like the Final Decision and other things that weren't just direct rips. They were based off of comics that Claremont wrote.
All right, I'm excited for this open debate.
I got a couple things in my
You, sir, are an ignoramus. No.
All right, listen. What is the one? Are we on now? Oh,
Yeah.
You started the time. Okay. What is the one character that you reference the most from the show? The one villain that you quote more than anything is Apocalypse. Apocalypse was not created by Chris Claremont.
No, it's created by Wheezy Simonson.
It was, but that has nothing to do with Chris Claremont.
Okay, but that's just a one quote. Like he doesn't.
No, man, you
doesn't
quoted
overwhelm
him so
that show.
much. You quoted him,
And we're talking. We're not just talking about that
quoted
show.
him.
Apocalypse from X-Men TAS doesn't overwhelm the X world. Like the things that they take.
What do you think?
For even the MCU movies, or not even the MCU movies, the Fox movies, they didn't take from TAS. They took from the comics. Everything that ever is created X-Men that's not a comic is ripped from those Chris Claremont comics.
No, there are a lot of things in that series that is not. But look, well, all the things.
Only X-Men 97 has used storylines not created by Chris.
No, they use lots of stuff. Apocalypse. They use the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Sauron, the Savage Land.
Yeah, that's all Chris Claremont.
Not all of it. Savage Land was around before Claremont.
Oh, before, sure.
Like there are aspects of that were well part of the history long before Claremont. Captain America was not part of Chris Claremont's run. Well, we got that wonderful old soldier story from that one good.
It was. There was that Uncanny X-Men. There was a comic that was a flashback that was Wolverine,
right. Well,
Black Widow, and Captain America, written by Chris Claremont.
I would argue that the cultural impact and the amount of money made from X-Men 97 as a sequel series to anything Claremont has done as a sequel to his X-Men series drastically outweigh it.
All those Fox movies based on Claremont's work?
Yeah,
they made a lot of money, a lot more than X-Men 97ers ever did.
Oh, that's fair enough. But that's a whole other
David Cutler wants in. Hey, I'm not doing anything. Let me debate.
Bring him in.
Okay, he gets the. You know what? He could be the judge. No, but
sure.
no. We'll bring him in. We're gonna bring you in.
He can pick he can pick what two of us will argue the point, then we'll just put it in.
There you go.
Actually, no. I guess it is our question. We should be able to argue it. We can let him just do the judge for the rest of them. That's fine.
Yeah, you can.
So where we get an X-Men artist, then you do an X-Men stuff. All right, you got to pick somebody before he gets here, right? No pressure, buddy.
No, we both brought up both points that I've had in my head because Andre, I agree with you, especially with the popularity. Like the animated series is what brought in the majority of people of our age, right? Like, I got in. Luckily,
certainly made me more interested in X-Men. Way more interested in X-Men.
Well, right, it's because like I got in with the arcade game, right? But like very shortly after the arcade,
that's the first X-Men thing ever for you, eh?
Yeah. And
I had the Super Nintendo.
Geez, you know, it might have been for me too. It was either that or Pride of the X-Men.
Well, I had the Spider-Man and the X-Men game.
But Larry Houston was
part of Pride.
Did Pride of the X-Men, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to be biased. But the debate, I have to give it to Davin.
That's all good.
Nah, I know. I'm sorry because I was like, man, I was like.
I mean, it's hard to argue in a vacuum because the show is very much inspired by Claremont's work. So it's like, but I mean, to say it's equally as important, I feel like the only point you can really draw is that it brought a lot of people to the comics too. Like, the comics existed, and then the fact that they could mine it from that to make this. Yeah. And then that just brought a lot of people back to it.
And what's funny is that when you got to that point, like I was like, oh man, I'm just running away with it. And then Davin dove into the movies. I'm like, shit, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you know, I shouldn't.
They make money. I don't like a lot of them.
Sometimes you bring up a point, then it's used against you, and you're like, back. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, the one I didn't even bring it up, but the movie everyone likes, X2, is like, you know, a bunch of God loves, man kills, and
it's mostly that.
So.
Great debate.
Yeah, Claremont, man. Yeah. David Cutler will be joining us eventually, I'm sure. But let's move on until he gets here. All right. Good one, fellas. And like Andre, you did make the point, though, I felt like that you had to make to try to win that debate, which was that everyone you talk to, like that's what they bring up. You're right about that.
Like literally almost everybody brings
up. Oh, crap. We got to change this up. Hold on. I guess. There we go.
Oh, days of Cutler's past.
Dave Cutler's
cuter past.
Cuter past. Ooh, a cuter past.
Yeah.
I think Dave Cuter might be a better pen name, Dave. Have you consider that?
Dave Cuter.
Dave Cuter.
How do you like your art? Cuter.
Make it cuter. Cuter.
Hello, your bosses.
So we're trying to find a role for you here, Dave.
Dave. Yeah, I think Dave could be our judge, unless he wants to.
You want to be the judge for the rest of these?
Or you wanted to-
I'll weigh in on who
You
I
said you
wanna
wanted to
judge.
debate, or
I
do you
don't
just
wanna
wanted to?
judge. I don't
You just
wanna
want to
judge.
weigh in after the debate or something?
Yeah. I'll give my.
Yeah,
your
yeah.
microphone. Your microphone.
Okay,
Sounds
your
like
mic
it's
is
really far away
wonky.
from you.
Oh,
It is not good.
You might be going through the wrong thing.
I always have to.
Almost found somebody, but anyway, we'll figure it out. Yeah,
No,
that'll
he's
be-
fixing it up. He knows what he said. He's just he's got the wrong thing in.
All right. So, next one. Be it resolved, rather than the reimagining of the main X-Men team that was X-Men Evolution, the next X-Men animated series after X-Men TAS should have been a spin-off featuring one of the other X teams. Shown or unshown on TAS doesn't matter, but one of the other X teams. Factor, Force, Excalibur, whatever. X-Static, whatever.
Factor. Who's
All right.
Factor Force? Oh, you mean X Factor, X Force? Okay. They meant there's a team called Factor Force.
Factor Force!
What a name!
Sold.
Written by Rob Liefeld and drawn by Rob Liefeld. No.
Scripted by Rob Liefeld.
Finding
Yeah.
quarter bins everywhere.
All right, so who's for and who's against this one? What do you think, Dave? Who should argue for this?
You guys don't already know?
No, this we make up on the spot because there's
Well,
politics.
the
involved in
person
this
who
show.
picked the question makes up who argues for
Yeah.
and against.
Yeah. We have no prep time on this. It's all off the cuff. That's what makes it fun.
I thought this was
Um,
stuff that you, so these
I'm
aren't
gonna
your
s-
real opinions. This is like a debate exercise.
Kind of, yeah.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna go, Andre. You're for this one.
Good. That's what I wanted. I don't try
Is
to
it?
influence you, but that's what I wanted.
All right. Well,
All
your
right.
60 seconds starts now.
Man, the X-Men animated series is such a cultural phenomenon, and the fact that it ended in such a, like the C team of animators doing it, I think what really would have brought the attention back to it is doing something different and something more unique. And I feel like already within the X-Men team, we already established, or the X-Men show, we already established X Factor. We saw the characters, some of them were featured in episodes prominently, and we never really got to really know them as well as we could have. And I, as a fan of the show, was very interested in seeing what those characters were like and what their dynamic was, and wanted to see more, especially as they kept teasing it by having an episode later with Forge, and then you saw you still an X Factor, but you don't. And Quicksilver made a mini cameo. We never got to really see all those dynamics together. All you saw was the fact that Iceman lost his girlfriend to Havoc. But I would have really liked to see that play out and see more unique stuff with that, especially with Quicksilver and all that stuff getting to play out. Especially Guido. We could have got more Strongman. We could have got Wolfsbane. We could have got those cool characters. I would have very
He
much
knows
liked
I
to
love Guido.
You love a good Guido. But yeah, I think X Factor should have been the spin-off show that we could have got.
All right. 60 seconds to you, Ryan. Rebuttal.
All right. I actually agree with a lot of your points. As a fan, I would have loved to have seen an X Factor spinoff or maybe an X Force, something like that. But when it comes to making a new show, there's a lot of business involved. And at that point, Toy Biz was a really big part of the business. And you know what happened? The X Factor toys didn't sell. If it wasn't the core mutants, nobody bought it. Which is rough. And then also we were in the time where like Buffy was a thing, and there's a lot of like, these high school drama ish like nerd stuff was really, really big. So the execs at Fox were like, oh man, like we really need to hit this gold mine that's here, and that's what Evolution was. It was to try to get that younger crowd, because at that point they already had us. Like we were probably already buying the comics, we were probably buying the video games, we were like ready for everything. But like the execs in Fox at that point were looking at this show that looked very dated. Whereas with X-Men Evolution, everything looked a lot more modern. It looked like, well, obviously as you've been watching it, it looks like it was like that was of the time.
All right.
I had to write some points down. We were talking. It's like
Good,
coming to me.
strong rebuttal. Open
All right.
debate.
All right,
Could I
man.
ask you guys a question?
Oh, hold
Sure.
on. Yep.
Have you
Yeah,
guys
go ahead.
come around on X-Men Evolution at all?
I wasn't as far afield as Andre was in the beginning.
I will.
I think we're both pretty happy with where
The
it's
last
going.
episode of season 2, the last two-parter, brought me around. If the show
We gave
continues
it
to be
10.
like that, I would like it.
I think season 2 is fantastic, almost start to finish.
There's a lot of good ones. Walk on the Wild Side was really good. The Wolverine one was really good.
Bada bing.
Yeah, I had a few good
The
episodes. for
Sadie
sure.
Hawkins
Yeah, bada
dance
bing,
one
bada
is
boom.
really good.
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff. I was
David,
pretty
you
happy
like a
with
lot.
season
You like a
two
lot of
myself.
things for reasons that you can't quantify more than you just thought. You just think they're so dumb. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to win this debate if David's picking it, but just go ahead.
Have your rebuttal.
All right.
All right, let's go. 60 seconds open debate.
All right, you mentioned Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a show that teenagers watched. Buffy the Vampire Show was a show for sexual awakenings. It was not a show that you want to ape for your children's cartoon. All right, like it's like Willow turns gay, people die, there's lots of murder. There's a lot of stuff that shouldn't be aped in your X-Men cartoon. The only time that cartoon got interesting is when it eschewed that and became a superhero show. At the end of X season 2, when it became a superhero show is when it became far more interesting.
No, says Dave Cutler.
I could agree with that if the show wasn't happening before Buffy kind of went off the deep end. And I'm a Buffy fan, so but like when Willow was gay.
Yeah, me too. But you're not going to get people that watch Buffy to watch a kids cartoon on Saturday morning on Fox. Yeah, but there's not a lot of overlap there. Yeah, but the age of us was where we were. Right, so like I was one of the kids to say, as a person like that came from TAS and started watching Buffy, but like I was still an X-Men kid, so like Evolution was good to go. But now it wasn't just me; it was also my younger. No, if they made a Buffy cartoon for kids at the same time Buffy was unpopular, it wouldn't have done well.
They were going to,
and they didn't because it wouldn't have done well.
Well, no, I think they didn't mostly because they couldn't figure out
how to make it accessible for children.
Vampires on TV, yeah, they weren't going to be able to stake vampires.
So it wouldn't work. You can stake your humans.
I mean, they did like how many seasons of Spider-Man without him like punching or kicking anybody? You know, I guess
or shooting actual guns.
Nobody.
Look, I think a lot of your guys' arguments kind of cancel each other out, but I think the thing that kind of rang true through that is what Ryan said about the marketability and how he's right. Side characters.
Well, they've never given a chance to be. If they became the forefront characters, they may have became popular, but they never were.
Perhaps. But I'm going to give the point to Ryan on this one.
Yay! No shutout.
Boo.
No, it's all Ryan. Even though I will rebut one of Ryan's points. Is that your name, Ryan? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Why is it Jabossis then? I thought you were
because he's Ryan Jablonski.
Oh, that's a cool last name.
Or Jabbo, or
Jabbo the Hutt.
It may have been the thinking that X-Men had run its course, the minor characters weren't selling, but the X-Men Evolution toy line failed straight out the gate.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And the show still went for 4 years.
Yeah, you know what I'll say about that?
Oh, you're right.
It's funny. Those toys are actually hard to find too. Obviously now they're hard to find because they all are. But I remember trying to find them back in the day, and like they were just not on the it's. I don't know if at that point because they were still Toy Biz at that point, right?
Oh yeah.
I think the action figure market was changing quite a bit at that point.
It was. It very much.
It was going from children's toys to children don't buy action figures anymore. It's like dudes that look like us that buy action figures.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing happened around that time.
Yeah, because McFarlane became a big thing and all that.
Yeah.
Andre, do you remember the time at Traders when we found out that there were Rhino action figures at the SAN across?
Yeah, we ran down to get them.
We ran down and
you guys had a SAN? We had a SAN in Windsor for a while.
It's right across from us.
We ran down and there was a mom there in front of us, like looking at the action figures for her son, and she was all like,
"Oh yeah,
which one would he want?" And we were both like eyeing there's only 2 rhinos. We were eyeing them. So we're like, he's not gonna want the rhino. Kids want Spider-Man. They got to get Spider-Man. So we're like talking her out of it. And so she's like, okay, good. Thanks for your help. She gets the Spider-Man, with the web, whatever action. And then later she comes into Traders and she sees us sitting there with our Rhino action figures. And she doesn't say anything, but she's pissed.
I forgot about that.
That's awful.
I quote one thing from our store to people probably more than ever is the time that you met Ethan Hawke.
He came into that store.
Yeah, like because he has a summer home like literally 2 miles from my parents' house.
But what was he doing in the comic shop?
Well, it was right across from liquor store. So when you went to buy your booze, you would come get mix or cigarettes or whatever at our store.
Oh, gotcha.
And I literally because he's one of my favorite actors, and you see him jogging sometimes down a monastery near where I grew up, and he still lives there. I was listening to a podcast like 2 months ago where he was on it, and he said on the podcast about my summer home in Nova Scotia, and I was like, I know where that is. It's down the road from my parents' house, but Anyway, maybe I remember the story differently, but Dave told me he like came to the counter and was buying something, and Dave goes, "Are you?" And then he goes, "Yeah." And then Dave goes, "Sorry, I haven't really seen a lot of things you were in." And then he goes, and then he goes, "I haven't seen anything you were in either." And I think that was like one of the funniest responses, because I was like in the back filling the cooler, and Dave was working the counter, and I was so mad that I never got to meet him, so I always wanted to. I guess I wouldn't have been I wouldn't have been a big fan of him then as I am now, but he's such a good actor.
No, I actually had seen A Waking Life, but I didn't know that was him.
Oh right, yeah. You never saw the Sunset movies or what's the Explorers, the Joe Dante movie?
I've probably seen a ton of.
Well, wasn't he in that one with Oh Captain, My Captain? Wasn't he in that one? Dead Poet Society.
Was he?
Yeah, he was in Dead Poet Society.
All right. Anyway.
All
right. So we all down.
Okay, your second one is up.
Oh, okay. Be resolved. It is ethical for Professor X to telepathically manipulate individuals with good intentions and does not infringe on their free will. Davin, you're gonna go that it is ethical, and Ryan, you're gonna argue that it isn't. To brainwash people.
Okay, so here we go. This is a two-part question. So one, it is ethical for Professor X to telepathically manipulate individuals with good intentions? Let's talk about that first, because one, I think there's a bit of a disconnect between the two parts of this question, because does it infringe on free will is a different question than is it ethical. So let's talk about the first one. Is it ethical for him to telepathically manipulate individuals with good intentions? I mean, I think it really depends. It's situational. I think it really depends on the situation, but generally, sure. Like if someone's about to walk in front of a bus and he telepathically stops them from being crushed by a bus, good job, Professor X. I don't care if you invaded my mind. You saved that person, and that's great. Now, does it infringe on their free will? Is there such thing as free will? So let's talk about that. So, free will. All right. Well, we'll talk about that in open debate.
Davin, your answer was what when a student has to write a 2,000-word essay and really pads as many words as they possibly can into the essay to make up the 2,000-word count. What happened on my summer vacation was what does it
How
mean
dare
to
you,
me?
sir?
What is summer?
Yeah. What is summer? What is vacation? I think we should analyze the bigger point here. Anyway, go ahead, Ryan.
All right. So I understand what you say about Professor X. Like, it's like, oh, it gets in your mind, you save somebody. But the issue is that Xavier could also get in your mind and then make you walk in front of that bus. But he's also Omega.
Is that what we're talking about here? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Hey. But he's also like, one of the most powerful telepaths in the world. So not only could he have one person do it, he could stop a war by having every single soldier turn the gun on themselves and kill themselves. Like,
whoa.
How is that possibly a-okay? Like, that's a terrible thing. So not only is it, even with the best of intentions, because maybe he, saved a village or he stopped a war. Like, I mean, that is absolutely incredibly unethical. It's definitely an infringement of their free will, because, like, who's really going to sit there and, in theory, like, blow their brains out? I mean, that's absolutely nuts.
All right. Looking forward to the open debate. I want you guys to focus on the slippery slope. Like, not necessarily the slippery slope, but the idea that, like, if you could telepathically make the entire world docile and there's no violence, is that okay? Is it better than making people free?
We're arguing that he's only doing this with good intentions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So 60 seconds open debate. So I'm not saying I'm a materialist myself, but does free will really exist? So I don't think we should really talk about free will right now and whether it infringes on that, because I don't think I know there's no evidence that free will exists. I mean, can I prove the contrary? Perhaps not, but there's no evidence that free will exists. So is it ethical for him to control people? Look, we're talking about good intentions here. And is there possibility for abuse through good intentions? Like the road to hell is paved through good intentions? Yes. But if Professor X is never to use his powers for anything, then that's one thing. But like that's almost infringing on his personhood because that's part of himself. So
Yeah, but good intentions.
if he's going to use it at all, it should be with good intentions.
Even the best intentions could lead to very bad things, though, because it could be your best intentions to, have somebody at the bank give a whole bunch of money to the homeless guy down the street, or it could be his best intention to have, somebody's wife leave him for him because like he likes her better and he thinks he could be better for her.
Am I the only one here okay with them taking money from the bank and giving it to the homeless guy down the street? Maybe that's just me. Okay.
Well, I want to give actually, I guess David picks this one, doesn't he? Go, Dave.
I was just going to ask: is it ethical for Professor X to control a whale if it infringes on Free Willy?
Oh, David wins. All right, David, you're the judge here.
Look, whales with bent over dorsal fins make me very sad. No, you got to be the judge. Dave's just sounding up.
Dave's weighing
sounding off at the end.
All right,
whaling it, if you will.
Well, I want to give this. I'm going to give this one to Ryan because, Davin, you put a lot of weight on good intentions, and there are a lot of bad things that can be done with good intentions. You're like, well, he has good intentions, so it's fine.
Well, I even pointed that out with the.
I'm sure Hitler had good intentions. That doesn't mean that they were good for everybody. Just good for him.
I knew I was in trouble, so I was trying to be like.
I could tell you were.
How do you expect him to use his powers?
Well, like wiping someone's memory to stop them from knowing about mutants or something like he didn't show.
I don't know. Look, well, we're going to talk about Xavier later in this debate. So
okay.
All right, Ryan, your next one is up.
Oh, all right. Be it resolved that there are too many mutants, and M-Day never should have been retconned.
Oh wow.
All right. I'm gonna go with Andre. You are 4.
Is there too many mutants?
Yes.
Okay.
And Davin, you are against the retcon.
Good. I thought you were gonna do it the other way. I like this.
No, I got
Go
I
ahead,
got
Andre.
I'm being real nice to you guys.
All right. Okay, there are far too many mutants in the Marvel Universe. And the nearest count, there are 17.5 million mutants. How can they be like a super small minority that the whole world is out against when there's 17.5 million of them? That's an insane amount. Like, in order to travel through most of them and give them any kind of a story or credo, they have to make 1,000 X books that'll just drain your wallet dry. Like, it's cool when we have a core group of X-Men, some side characters. You can do that with maybe a couple thousand. You don't need 17.5 million. It also makes their plight seem a lot more substantial because there's far less of them in the world. Like when we talked earlier about prioritizing mutant lives over human lives, and there's 17.5 million of them around. That's not a minority you'd have to, like, if they were white rhinoceroses, we wouldn't be that worried about them. They'd be doing okay. Like that's an obscene amount of mutants running around to try to keep track of them all. There's far too many. M-Day was an interesting idea, and I think it should have been maintained.
You're hitting me where it hurts with that white rhinoceros talk. I don't really like that.
We wouldn't be worried. There'd be white rhinos running around everywhere. We'd have one as a pet right now. Not that you should, but we could.
I feel like he's getting personal. Anyway, so,
Davin wants a white rhino. We got it here, folks.
Hey, I'm a biodiversity, animal nature guy. That's my whole thing. Anyway, all right. So, you know who doesn't agree with anything you just said, Andre? Grant Morrison. But anyway, that's besides the point. So. No, there's not too many mutants. So you're complaining here about 17.5 million mutants. You know what 17.5 million mutants is even in the United States of America? A minority. So on the Earth, 17.5 million is like nothing. It is a huge minority and easily persecuted by the other like 7 billion. So you don't have to get into the stories of all of these mutants. You can still focus on the ones that we care about. But with this huge not huge, but like reasonable population of people, it allows for more stories, more characters you can bring in. Not even just for like to be members of the X-Men, but it's just like they can have relationships with other human relationships with other mutants.
All right.
I'm excited for this one.
All right. After M Day, there were 200 mutants left. That is a much more manageable amount of mutants to keep track of for books and for stories. 17.5 million may not be a lot in the greater scheme of the world, but it's a lot when like a third of them could total a building or destroy a planet. Or not a planet, but destroy a city or parts of a city or mass murder tons of people. Like, how are there not way more villains running around? Because we know people generally are assholes. And if 17.5 million, there's got to be at least half of them or more of them that would become mutant supervillains.
You know
If you're
who
running
doesn't
around
agree
taking
with
over the
anything
world.
you're saying? Grant Morrison.
How do you know
Mutants
that?
don't all
Grant
have
Morrison-
to be Magneto. They can be just Beak. They
It
can just
seems
be
like
this
at
like
least
dude
a
with a
third of
beak.
them are Omega
Who
level
I'm
mutants.
keeping my chicken coop. So you know what? Maybe I'm the problem. But
Listen, you can mass market 200 characters way more interesting than you can do 17.5 million. It's
no,
ridiculous.
to do that 200 thing, they had to get rid of characters like we actually liked, like maybe underwritten characters.
More interesting. If you were a cool mutant that's now a human, having to deal with the fact he used to be powerful, that's a way more interesting story than just being a guy walking around totaling buildings when you want to.
Can we get
Dave, you
another
any
30
follow-up
seconds?
questions?
Oh, you want more?
I
Okay.
want more.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
we'll
No, I
make it
can't,
that.
because
Then.
see,
You know, that's good.
my issue and why I might have to duck out, why I probably should duck out, is I am too opinionated. Like I couldn't even do what you guys are doing. Like I couldn't argue a point that I didn't believe. I would like I'd like want the other guy to win. So like I have the guy who I agree with in this, and I just want to trip the other guy up. So I'm not a fan.
You stay out of this one then.
Fair enough. Although I feel like you
But stick
probably
around. We love that you're here.
Hey,
All
okay,
right,
well,
well,
go
we
ahead.
can give him another 60 seconds. All right, let's go.
It's clearing out the deadwood, man. That's why you take after a storm, you get rid of all the trees, you take them out, and you throw them in the dumpster. Those are the carrots you don't care about. You keep the 200 that everybody really loves and cherishes, and let
So
them
how long
flourish.
do you keep that 200?
Forever. You
How
some
long
of
do
them
you
have
limit
kids,
your
some-
storytelling by these 200 characters?
Dude, how many comic
long?
stories? How many are in mutant teams? Like 5 to 10 people. Like that's.
But it's
that's,
not just the members of the teams. They have the villains. They have the people they have to save.
Sure enough. Even there's
Like-
100. That's
What if they
6 to
save a
7
room full of 50 mutant children? That's 1/4 of your mutants.
They can save humans. That's what they can save other people on the planet. They don't just have to save mutants, you know.
You were
Humans
just
know
talking
need
about how
saving
they should
too.
not even care about humans and just save other mutants. So we
I
need
didn't
more
say that.
mutants
That was a
for
question
them to
I
save.
asked. That wasn't something
That's
I said.
true.
I was curious what your opinion of it was.
But
Because- but no, listen. Like
But-
you can take 100 bad guys and 100 good guys and just make enough interesting stories out of that. You do not need to have that many characters. And like
but
I
for
said,
how long?
people are
How
generally
long?
assholes. There would be like 10 million supervillains that are mutants running around if mutants existed. But
I love being introduced to new mutants.
Oh, bad guys that are trying to kill you? Because I
No.
guarantee you, if the real world had 17.5 million people on it, at least 15 million of those would be bank robbers and murderers and rapists and all of everything else.
You don't believe that.
I do. People suck.
But anybody can get a gun.
Yeah,
Andre hates people.
in America, not in every
In
other country.
America.
I know, but like you can't say
Not
that
insane
Oh,
a third
places.
of Americans are criminals.
Do you think having a gun equates the same amount as being able to control the weather or the sun?
more powerful
or
than bees.
magnetism?
I don't know where you're
or
getting
shooting
these
optic
numbers.
beams that can destroy a building with your eyes.
I don't
Like, you
know.
can
they're
still
not
be
all
shot
that.
and killed as a mutant,
Omega
as
level
a
mutants.
gunman.
Most mutants aren't Omega level. mutants.
Yeah, like even
Extreme
Omega level
minority.
mutants among mutants is a huge minority. Huge minority.
Extreme minority. Extreme.
Like there's like 10 of them. Like there's not very many.
I don't know. My
most
opinion,
mutants
you guys
have
have
about
more
as
open
much
humanity
power
than I do.
as you would if you had a handgun and sure unlimited bullets.
What
Hey,
about
remember
what
TAS,
about
that
second-
mole
what-
guy that kept showing up, and we'd point out every time that mole guy showed up?
What about
The most
secondary
mutants are him.
mutations? They're just waiting to become an even stronger mutant.
We're way over time here. Ryan, who
All
gets the point on this one?
Oh God, I was glad you guys were going over time because it's
So, Davin, I'm assuming you're pro. You like 17.5. You like all the extra mutants. Now the debate's over. Dave,
Huh?
I assume.
Oh, yeah,
I'm who you want to trip out. I assume. what I
Yes,
figured,
kind of.
yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
even when we see in like how excited did you and I get in X-Men Evolution when his screen comes up and mutants start to pop up everywhere? We're like, yay, there's a big mutant
It
world.
showed like 20.
I think having a big mutant world is what we
Yeah,
Well-
Well, let's see what Davin or Ryan says before I say anything that might hurt my case.
so Man, you guys really debated the shit out of that. I'm very proud.
That's what we do.
You sir are an ignoramus.
That was fantastic. Yeah, you did. That's fantastic. Man, I got to go with Davin on this one.
Oh, come on.
And I don't really want to because I wanted to even all the scores out.
I should have mentioned more because I think for storytelling and for like actually making the comics, it's better to have a smaller number.
Yeah,
I do think the number should be higher than 200, maybe 500, but it shouldn't be.
200 was a small number.
17 million.
200 is too small, but I agree. It's like, and I love my X-Men, I love my mutants, but yeah, there's just too fucking many of them. Right? Excuse me.
It's way too many.
There's just too many.
Oh, you can curse on this show, I believe. Can't we curse?
Oh yeah,
on this?
hey, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, every episode.
I have 2 counterpoints just to toss in.
Yeah, do it.
One is just ease of storytelling. It's very hard to come up with origins for guys, especially if you need a guy with a very specific power. If you want somebody who phases through walls, it's just easier to go, they're a mutant and not they were bitten by a radioactive wall or whatever, you know, like they went through some fucking experiment and some poopy experiment.
Also, how many mutants exist that are almost the same character or just their powers are exactly the same?
Well, my other point is for diversity of background in the line, because one of the big issues with the 200 was mostly the straight white cis het mutants kept their powers.
Oh, really? I don't remember.
Yeah, and then,
Well,
like
they're
because
established characters.
most of the minority mutants are very minor characters because they're newer or
Like
whatever.
Frenzy.
Yeah. So, and Jubilee lost her powers.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, I agree.
a billion mutants, please, right now.
I got to take a 2-minute break so you keep talking.
That's fine.
We should make Dave argue one of them and let him choose the side at the end. Because we could use the 4th question I picked if you want.
No, because like if you had argued your point better, I would never have given it.
Do better.
Yeah. No, not as a judge. You have to argue. Like you argue as one of the debaters, not as a judge.
So how are things, Dave? How is it getting any spoiler like big
Let this be a lesson that
announcements?
Dave should not be on the Supreme Court of Canada.
No.
I think he should. I think he should.
He just said if it goes against what he believes, he's not going to vote for it regardless of what you said.
That's what you want.
I
You
don't
want
think there's
someone with
anything in the
conviction on
Canadian
the Supreme
Constitution that
Court.
goes against what I believe.
You don't want someone on the Supreme Court that's just
What
like,
if
I have
mutants
my
suddenly showed
convictions,
up?
but $500 is pretty great. So
But I would say more mutants.
Yeah, David, I'm going to tell you, kickstart that fucking book. That book is too cool.
yeah,
to
that's
sit on.
I agree. I agree.
And like kickstart it.
I don't know, man.
You'll
Like, I
make
don't
the
know if it's-
money.
Man, you know how many things get
Kickstarting comics
kickstarted
seems
these
like
days? Like
So many of them do well, and you get like such a cool thing going. Just make it. I mean, have it mostly done before you kickstart it. But
and you're a renowned artist, David Cutler. You could sell a
you're
Kickstarter book
Marvel.
like that.
You're the creator of Native American Captain America and
Yep.
Thunderbird's new costume and
Yep.
all these cool stuff. Bring it, dude. Leverage
It draws
it.
one
Put it out there.
hell of a Nightcrawler.
Is it called Toxic City? Was that the name for it?
Yeah.
Is it because you wanted to call it Toxicity and you're afraid to get sued by Systems of a Down?
No. It's Andrew Wheeler.
Don't lie to us, Dave.
I have brought up
That toxicity.
kickstarting it to him, but I always bring it up at the caveat. Like I know that it's probable that our reach and the nature of this project doesn't have any kind of like undercurrent to tap into.
There are so many books that people.
But so
would
many of
sell
those
that are
Kickstarter
like-
books don't.
Yeah, they're just their own
Like
thing.
some of them are like another Godzilla book or whatever.
Dude, if you
but
did like
some of
a
them are
100 or
just
150 page sort of graphic novel that had like the full story that was like all color with all your character designs and the art, it's beautiful, dude. You'll sell it.
Oh, thanks. Man.
Yep.
Oh well,
I
we'll
agree.
see because I thought we were done trying.
And we'll promote the shit out of it.
When I first posted that we were done trying, Andrew Wheeler was like, "Whoa, we're not done trying. Well, something else." But I don't know what the something else is. And I brought up Kickstarter. So far, he doesn't seem interested. But
It's a lot of work. Kickstarter is a lot of work.
Yes, and it would be his work. I would not be lifting a finger except to satisfy whatever. What are they called?
Artistic obligations.
Yes, and like if they're like free, sketches that
Yeah,
go with different.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah,
The rewards.
and all that, yeah.
I don't know, dude. I mean, he works for Image, doesn't he? Image doesn't.
Yeah. He has the ins. Like we got it in front of the editors at Skybound, Boom, and Mad King.
Image?
Not Image itself, because you have to have a completed first issue.
Well,
which
maybe
we do
that's the
not
next
have.
step.
Yeah.
Mm,
Then make a first issue.
yeah, that's what
Done.
I'm thinking.
Kickstart
do
the
it right
first
now.
issue.
Do it tomorrow, David.
Can you kickstart
Yeah.
one issue and then bring it to Image after that?
Look, you talk to Andrew Weaver.
We'll talk about it.
I'll
We'll talk
put him on the line. I'll talk to him.
All right.
He kind of looks like me with a smaller beard. I mean, I think we'll have a lot in common.
I think we all kind of look like each other with a small.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, I have the most advanced beard here. So my
That's
question,
true. And the most hair by
And the
far.
most hair.
Hair too, yeah.
that's true. That's true. Well, against you guys, geez, like I have more hair than all of you guys combined. But anyway,
Not in my body.
Yeah.
If you count chest hair, I think I might be able to catch you.
No, you can't.
Really? Yeah,
Check out this back.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean. All right, be it resolved. The MCU should do X-Men solo character movies.
Oh, so like to introduce them into the Marvel universe with solo movies first?
Whether it's an introduction, I'm not going to specify, but just solo.
But you're talking about the
character movies.
MCU now, not like
Yeah, the MCU now, not
okay.
do something beside team movies,
Or
Solo
not like
character.
the Fox universe. Yeah, MCU. You said okay. Yep. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. For Ryan,
Oh damn it. Okay,
60
I'm
seconds.
against. All right.
You're against.
I think with the success of movies like Deadpool and even the Wolverine movies, take them or leave them for the quality, but they did very well. It would be silly not to expand on the X-Men universe, similar to how the MCU built their Avengers, right? I mean, who would have ever thunk that Iron Man would have been a big movie, right? He was, most people didn't even know who Iron Man was, and it was huge. And then we got Doctor Strange and we got Shang-Chi and movies that we never thought would have existed. And because of that, they built this amazing universe and it made movies like Avengers, like Endgame, like that much bigger because we actually got the real stories from these characters. And with the X-Men, who have just as much of a history and a storied like past that the entire Marvel universe has, like why wouldn't you give them the same, the same thing? Especially with the movies, with the people that really love them and the characters that are already adored.
All right, 60 seconds of rebuttal, Andre.
Okay, there's a reason why when Marvel did their new Spider-Man movie, they didn't include the whole origin story with Uncle Ben again. Or whenever they do new Batman movies, they don't need to. They spend as little time as possible explaining how Batman's origin story came. We all know it already. You don't need to go over it again. It's been done 1,000 times. So we all know the X-Men characters. We all know them from the X-Men cartoon, from X-Men 97, from the comics, from the previous movies. We don't need to do individual movies to establish them as characters. We can do it succinctly enough with a small group in a well-crafted movie, which I think you can do, and do well with the right character. I mean, the Fantastic Four movie's coming out. We don't have a Thing movie, Mr. Fantastic, Human Torch, Visible Woman movie. I know their origins are connected, but hey, we can set up a well-crafted, interesting movie with a fully realized team. The Guardians of the Galaxy is a great example. We had a fantastic movie out of a group of characters that we didn't know much about going into it. The movie was so well done that it made us learn about them and love them from the start. We can do that with the X-Men.
Ooh, that was a good rebuttal. 60-second rebuttal or 60 seconds open debate.
Yeah, I agree. And you brought up Guardians, which I think is a great point. But this isn't, and Davin did specify, like, this isn't saying that we have to start with solo movies. Like, you start with an X-Men movie. But
but I mean, that's the case. We're already going to have an established franchise going to go on, and then they'll just do side character movies eventually. That's what they did before. We're just getting the same thing at the end.
And that's why I think it would be a great call because I mean,
No, I think
let's
you're
be
going
honest,
to drain the well, man.
But especially
go
right
dry.
now with think of like how big Black Panther was, right? Imagine how huge a Storm movie would be. I mean, like she would blow away Wonder Woman numbers.
He knows I love
Yeah,
Storm.
you're just pandering to the audience. To the
Strategy, Andre.
yeah, okay, yeah, it's a good strategy. But listen,
Well,
I feel like the X-Men, like how much character development do we need on certain characters? Like, I mean, we know what Rogue's deal is. She can't touch people and she's sad.
Yeah,
about
but
it. That's
we don't
enough
need
to
Rogue.
explain her. We don't need a whole
But
fucking
you know what we might
movie.
need? I mean, Ivan.
We know enough about Wolverine. You don't need to have another Wolverine movie by
But
himself.
I've been dying to see that Magneto movie that never came out.
Oh, we're never going to get that.
No.
What do you think about this one, Dave? I'm having a bit of trouble deciding on this one.
My opinion is that movies are for little girls.
Oh,
Who
wow.
needs them?
They call me.
I need
pigtails and
both of
call
my
me
little
princess.
girls. Like, you don't know who you're talking to.
Read the room, Dave.
It's hard for me to muster up an opinion about the MCU these days. So.
You're excited.
Well, there you go.
about
You're not
Fantastic
opinionated.
Four.
How do
Don't
you
act
feel
like
these
you're not.
debates went?
Don't act
Oh.
like the Dave Cutler I know from back in the day would be excited about this Fantastic Four movie. I think this.
Oh, I'm still excited about
Oh,
the
he
Fantastic
is.
Four
He
movie.
is.
I am. Yes, I am. I'm excited for Fantastic Four. I'm excited for Superman. But like, I don't have any confidence in the MCU as a property that like I'm excited. I'm not excited the whole thing exists anymore. And I'd be just as happy if they just went back to doing individual movies that didn't relate to each other, except in their own little franchise. I don't care. And I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if it needs fixing. I don't have opinions.
I think they're angling towards that with their Secret Wars thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think Secret
would be
Wars is going to reset a lot of stuff and bring back characters that they
everything,
killed off,
yeah.
but who knows? I kind of agree with Andre. Andre kind of convinced me that maybe at least if the debate is like, do we need solo character movies first?
That's not the debate.
But I mean, you can say that about anything. That's
It's
just like if
whether
any
the
movie does well
MCU
enough to
should
a spin-off
do
movie.
X-Men solo character movies at all. But so far, they've only done with Wolverine.
Well, why am I deciding this?
You're not.
My
I'm just
feeling,
getting your opinion because I'm having a tough time.
my feeling is that it's different than Guardians or Fantastic Four, where like they didn't do solo movies because those even though they were teams, they were side movies. Whereas from Disney and Marvel's perspective, they need X-Men to be the next thing. Like they need everybody excited about it. They need to milk it for as many movies as possible. And I want a Storm movie. I want.
Yeah, but it's got to start with X-Men, that full X-Men movie.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
are too.
I got to give the point to Ryan because
What?
too much of Andre's argument hinged on the solo movies coming first.
Come on, the way the question is phrased really indicates that they should, when they come to the X-Men, they should be a full movie, not standalone movies that eventually end an X-Men movie. Just saying they should never do a standalone X-Men movie is such a flawed question because of course they're going to. They make money, but they should start with the regular movie. I don't know.
Yeah, you were tough.
Andre
Ryan knew exactly who he was trying to appeal to, and he milked it pretty good.
So I'll just send you $20 before the next.
No,
the next
it
one,
was
then I'll
tough.
win money.
But, like, yeah, I think
All right, well.
his point about if you can make solo Avengers movies.
Well,
like
remind me of
every
my next
actor
debate to talk
is
about how
cool.
great Storm is, no matter what the question is.
You should.
Do it.
You should know that by now.
I guess I should have.
Hey, don't worry. Last X
It's
debate.
my
I only
fault for
got
thinking
1
the
point.
judge was impartial.
It is impartial.
What a fool I was. Remember Dave, when I said about the population of how many people with 17.5 returns would be bad? Yeah.
I mean, what's that?
He was just talking about me. All right.
He'd be
So,
an eco-terrorist,
Andre.
sure.
No,
but-
for sure, 100%. Oh, good enough to talk. All right, be it resolved that Mutate should be given the same access to mutant-exclusive groups and locations and attention as natural-born mutants. Basically, Mutate should be included in the mutant conversation. Oh. Davin, I know which way you're probably going to go, so I'm going to say you're against. And Ryan, you're for.
All right, I absolutely think that mutates should be considered, just like natural born mutants, especially when you think of mutates, and not even necessarily people like Deadpool and things like that. That a lot of it happened with like weapon experimentation and stuff like that, or like even say like a Mr. Sinister, right? Who did a lot of experiments on himself, but at this point, he's one of the most powerful mutates on the planet. I mean, but also because of him and his knowledge, if you go into, say, the Krakoa age and stuff like that, he's the reason that Krakoa worked. He was able to help the Five bring back every single mutant that died. And even afterwards, he's obviously still around. It just, I see no reason that a group that is being shunned and shit on as a minority wouldn't accept people who are just like them. It's the same reason why there's so many times that like Spider-Man and the X-Men work so well together. Yeah, he's not a mutant, but like they treat him like one.
Good point. All right, Devin here.
Okay, so we've talked about this before, what it qualifies as a mutate, and that's basically anyone who's mutated, but not by genetics and birth. So, you want Hulk on Krakoa? You want, like, Spider-Man? You know, how disruptive is Spider-Man? What would he do to Krakoa? He would tear up that entire society with his wise cracks. But, no, here's the main point here. If you include all mutates, Captain America, Hulk, Spider-Man, and basically almost everybody except Iron Man and Hawkeye, and you dilute the cause. The persecution is of mutants because humans feel that they're being replaced and that they're threatened evolutionarily by mutants. Like, they don't feel that by mutates. So as soon as you, like, would you even include mutates in this cause? It makes no sense. Like, it's not the thing that threatens humanity and brings on that persecution in the first place. So, and Spider-Man is, he's a troublemaker. I love him, but he's a troublemaker.
A lot of hatred towards Spider-Man in that.
No, I love Spider-Man.
All right.
That's not
what a
gonna help
wise
your
crack.
point. That's like the anti-bring
I know.
storm. I don't
All right,
know.
David,
My other points were better.
Dave, is there anything you want them to argue about in the open debate? Or you're any proposal?
See, I have trouble coming up with questions that don't tip my hand that I know support one argument better than the other.
You have to be it, resolve them. You don't make them questions. You just say something and make us argue about it.
I can't. I
Okay.
can't do it.
All right, open debate. Let's go. Get it on.
Okay,
Don't
so
dilute the cause, man. There's an actual cause there.
there is an actual cause, but then say, and just because it's more recent, like let's look at Krakoa, right? Like Deadpool tried for so long to get on there, and eventually they're like, all right, like you're good to go. They let him on the team. He's a mutate, he's not a mutant, but he helps the mutant cause. He's done. I mean, he's killed a lot of people for her, but he's done so much to help him. But in the same token, so is Spider-Man, and even so is Captain America, and guys like the Hulk and things like that. Like, just because they're not mutants doesn't mean that they don't have the same values that the mutants would have. And at the same token, then if you want to go to a more villainous side, look at the Hellfire Club, right? That's a club that was completely run by mutants that let humans in. So, like, why wouldn't you just go the other way?
Look, I hate to real world this shit again and talk about the silly shit that happens in the States again, but remember Rachel Dolezal? That's what you're basically talking about. You basically want a white girl who's leading the NAACP, like, joining the cause of mutant. Like, then, no Rachel Dolezals in the mutant cause.
I can't believe you just called Captain America.
Wow.
Rachel Dolezal? I did call
Spider-Man
Captain
or-
America Rachel Dolezal.
So many people. Wow. Davin, you're such a racist. Interesting. I'm gonna give it to Ryan. I feel like Ryan came with some better points. Davin, I like where you try to go to comedic route, but I kind of feel like, I feel like if in the modern world we had people that were born with mutant powers and then people that just got powers, I think they would be both treated equally as far as how much society would mistrust and.
But they aren't in everything
Yeah.
we've ever seen ever.
I'm with Dev, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
They're not threatened by Captain America. They're because nobody.
No, but I
gets
feel
that
like they
spirit.
would be if that's really happened.
In the Marvel universe, people are like the way how people say about Republicans that every like Republican bringing in $20K a year believes that they're a billionaire that just hasn't made their first billion yet.
Yeah.
In the Marvel universe, everybody thinks that radioactive spider's coming. That the super
everyone thinks
soldier
they're Captain
serum could be
America.
around the corner. They could be one of them. They'll never be a mutant because they weren't born that way.
No.
And the mutants are here to replace them. So they'd be out there with their tiki torches. You will not replace us.
Fist bump,
Captain
Dave.
America.
You understand?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Or no, here. That's where it
Right.
goes.
There you go. That's
I
better.
did it to my screen.
You just did
Yeah.
this. I got you here, buddy. Just fist bump through the screen. You haven't put your hand up. See, you put it by your window. No. Fist bump me through the side. See? There you go. There you go.
You're going the wrong way.
No, on my screen, I'm going the right way. I think we're
Yeah,
on different
fix it.
screens and different windows.
Anyway, we're very.
Look,
off
it looks
on
right on
all
my
that.
screen.
All right. So, final debate. Ryan.
Be it resolved that Charles Xavier is the most dangerous foe the X-Men have ever faced.
Oh, it's a tough one.
We're going to go...
Only one person can catch you in this debate.
Well, yeah.
That's where the politics come in.
Andre against Davenport.
So I'm saying he's not the most dangerous foe the X-Men ever faced?
Yes.
All right, I'm for. Okay. So I'm glad you chose me for this one. So the reason why he's the most dangerous foe they've ever faced, one, because of his power itself, and not just the power of his mind, but like the connections he has. Like he has a lot of intelligence regarding like how the Shi'ar Empire works and how the universe works and the players on Earth, and just like he's been reading so many people's minds for so long that he just has a more holistic view of the universe than everybody else. But two, the second reason why he's the most dangerous foe is because he's never going to go away. The danger never goes away, whether it's be somebody who's influencing him or just him going all friggin' onslaught or whatever. But like, because they still love him, he's still Charles Xavier. He's the X in X-Men. It's not extra power like Stan Lee says it is. Anyway,
What does Stan Lee know?
they can't get rid of him. They can defeat Apocalypse and make him go away forever if they really want to. They won't do that to Charles Xavier.
All right.
I mean, how can he be the most dangerous foe? He's the biggest ally. They're named after him. I mean, he's done so many, like, sure, every once in a while, comics will do some kind of storyline where he goes a little too far and he has to be put in check or he dies and comes back. But overall, in the arc of his entire run as the leader of the X-Men, he's done nothing but good things. He's fought in the Korean War. Him and Magneto teamed up to fight Hydra. I mean, sure, he has insane powers, but he's only ever really tried or endeavored to use them for good. And anytime he hasn't, he's usually like being mind controlled by someone else, or he's from another universe or something else stupid like that. I mean, Xavier himself is the beating heart of the point of the X-Men. I mean, Xavier is supposed to represent the altruistic side of people trying to make real change in society. Magneto is the antithesis. Stan Lee himself has said that Charles Xavier represents the Martin Luther King side of an argument, while Magneto is the Malcolm X extremist side of the argument. And I mean, was Martin Luther King the greatest foe for black people? I don't think so. I think he was on their side. I think he was trying to help people. I think that's what Xavier's doing.
Way to position me into an awkward place. But anyway.
That's right.
So,
and not to mention Storm. Storm is the best X-Men.
yeah, you just quiet. You be quiet now.
God,
That's why we hate cops.
The cops do it. No, anyway. So, no, look, here's the thing. The thing about Xavier is he's not just this thing. He's just like, oh, he'll go bad because he's influenced by somebody else. No, Onslaught had nothing to do with that. The very nature of Charles Xavier is threatening.
Everyone has a dark side. He was Charles Xavier's dark side.
Yeah, and when Cyclops'
Just
dark
because he
side
has a
takes
dark side
over,
that
he
was
just like
manipulated.
broods in a corner for fucking
It's different
15
when it's
minutes.
given a physical form. If someone reaches in your brain and takes out your dark side and then makes it another being, that's different than if you just act on your dark impulses. You're making
Someone
a
didn't
choice.
someone
was
didn't
mind raped, and then that mind raped baby was given a form and then became a monster. He's irresponsible for that. He can't control what it's going to do. It's like your darkest impulse is given.
You literally said the words Charles Xavier has never done anything wrong. He enslaved a consciousness that he knew was a consciousness.
Because for the greater good.
For the benefit of his child soldiers,
earlier,
which is also messed up.
Remember earlier, all you could focus on was good intentions. You said Xavier's always had the best intentions, so he's an ally. He's got the best intentions.
What were his good intentions with enslaving the Danger Room?
Because it was, a threat? Was it not?
Because his child soldiers needed a training simulator.
Okay, in my defense, I did not know that story. So
I
did it to Joss Whedon run.
Yeah, it was a robot. It wasn't real. I'm kidding. Yeah, okay. Well, number one, it was written by
ChatGPT's going to kick your ass in about
Joss
5
Whedon
years.
obviously doesn't have Joss Whedon obviously doesn't have a problem with putting people in compromising positions to benefit himself. So I'm sure a comic written by him.
Way over time here. Whoa.
No,
So,
I do want an official. You can keep going for an official. This is
oh, come on. Oh, God. That's an hard argument. Well, what I just said, I think, is enough. Joss Whedon, come on. All right, let's do it.
What? We're
He
doing
wants another
more?
30 seconds, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Look, Joss Whedon is your reference. Like he's obviously not an enemy. He's not a good example. He obviously is okay with exploiting beings and creatures for his own ends. So he can reflect that in the story and saw no problem with it. Now, the Xavier that I want to believe in, the true Xavier, the one that is free of shitty writing, is the one that wants to help X-Men, wants to help mutants, wants to help humanity. Like anybody could, any of a powerful creature can become the biggest foe to somebody if turned evil. But at his core, he's a good person.
who just enslaves people and has child soldiers. No, who is the biggest advocate of Charles Xavier forever? In fact, with the beloved animated series is all the matters of the X-Men. Cyclops always goes on about how great Charles Xavier is. It's like Cyclops even turned his back on Charles Xavier more than once because Charles Xavier is corrupt,
is a
and he's a problem
individual.
for the X-Men.
He's not like the ultimate authority and morality.
He formed the X-Men. His job is done now. He's just a problem after that.
He's not the ultimate authority and moral judgment.
Shit, guys.
He also tried to kill the Avengers so the Phoenix Force can come back. Like he's
who hasn't tried to kill the Avengers?
Yeah.
All right. So my actual feelings about this question are very much for, because I think he is actually the one of the most dangerous things X-Men ever faced. But Andre, I gotta give it to you, man.
Hey.
So in the debate, and Davin, this has nothing to do with
it's also strategic because that makes him win. Because he's
this has nothing to do. I was trying not to. I was trying not to pay attention to
Andre had a good debate there.
You really, and you hit on a couple points. And what I'm trying to do too is that because I'm very current on X-Men comics, I read them all the time.
I gotta get catch up.
That's why we love you.
Well, absolutely. But I'm also trying not to keep track of like the stuff that happened over the last couple of months because I know that you're not there, Andre. So I'm not holding that Xavier against you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough.
But no, I just and then
Professor X is fine. He's like Vince McMahon. What? I just won this debate, didn't I?
Yeah, he's
with
fine.
that
just
statement.
Just fine. This man said nothing problematic in his life or career.
But
Never.
So where you got it is, of course, like you brought up the Martin Luther King thing, which I always think was a very great thing to compare him to. But when
it's also not a great if you go the other way. If you're like Magneto is supposed to be Malcolm X, it's like he's like, I mean, X is an extremist, but he wasn't like let's wipe out all of the kill everything.
Right. Well, especially under Stan Lee's pen, Magneto was only ever a super villain.
He ran a group called the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Yeah, he had no sympathetic aspects until Claremont.
Yeah,
there seems to be some, claims that Stan Lee just started saying that.
Yeah. There's so many things that he started saying that I don't think were true. He has stuff about Iron Man's origins that I don't think were true.
About him having to give everybody a weakness, so he gave him a bad heart. That thing.
I don't know about that.
And Silver Surfer's origin. He said he had this big origin plan when really he didn't even know he was going to be in the comic. Jack just stuck him in there.
Yeah. He said about Iron Man that he set himself a challenge that he wanted to get over a character who was the embodiment of what the kids hated the most.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
It was 1963.
I always liked that story, but I agree.
Hippie culture wasn't people weren't against billionaires. Yeah. People were supporting the Vietnam War early on. Nonsense, but.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, so where was your point going to be, Ryan? We cut you off. You're going to say?
Oh no, it's fine. I was going to say the where it you won it for me was when Davin you brought up the Joss Whedon run, which almost leaned me towards you. And then Andre said, "Oh yeah, Joss Whedon doesn't have any problems." I was like, "Oh man."
I disregard your Joss Whedon point. He says
historically.
Well, no, because you brought it up because I thought that was actually a great point. Until then, Andre reminded everybody what kind of person Joss Whedon is. I'm like, oh, damn.
He is the greatest strength and weakness of most characters is writers. Where's it?
Well, Ryan, congratulations, sir.
So someday, one member of this, one regular member of this show might win a debate, but it's not that day.
I mean,
Hey,
to
look,
be
we
fair,
keep bringing in the big guns. Jameel, Ryan.
Well, I was gonna say, but now I'll be banned. Like
I'm actually
You're banned.
knowing how hard Dave gets in the paint, but when it comes to some of these arguments, I think if we did one where he could argue the side he wanted to, would be interesting.
Yeah, but it's going to be more fun to put him on the side that he doesn't agree with. That's what I'm all about.
I don't think it would be as fun as watching.
I can tell you, and you can decide whether or not you'd find this fun. If I was given a side that I disagreed with, I just wouldn't try. I would sabotage it. I would do anything to plant seeds for the other, because I only care that what I think is
right.
right.
Give you the point to spite you, sir.
Dave's only the greater good.
I don't care if I win with a little number. What does that mean? But I want the right thing to have the number next to it.
Wow. Did you have any back and forth ones? What were they, if they were ones? You guys
back and forth ones?
No, Davin suggested we do a fourth one just in case there's a tie. Write a fourth question. Do you guys have a fourth one in your back?
I have a fourth one, yeah.
What'd you have?
Yeah, I wrote one.
Well, my fourth one was hashtag till you're 90. The MCU will recast every X-Men character except for Deadpool and Wolverine.
I like that.
They should, or they shouldn't.
Just that they will.
Oh,
I agree.
They'll recast Wolverine.
I think they'll recast Wolverine. It's gonna be
that's
Zac
where the debate
Efron.
Lies. Yeah.
It's gonna be Zac.
Zac Efron.
That's right.
Zac Efron.
Do you think they'll let Logan sit for a bit and keep Daphne Keane as Laura?
I think they'll include. I think
they'll keep Jackman.
I think they'll kill off Jackman or do something with them in Dead Doomsday or whatever, which will write them out and then get new Wolverine and new X-Men in after whatever happens in
well,
Doomsday.
That's the rumor, right? Is that scene that Deadpool sees of Thor holding him is actually going to be in Doomsday or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's going to be different. It's going to maybe be the opposite. Or something like.
But I think that'll put an end to.
What I think it'll be.
I think that'll put an end to Jackman's Wolverine. He'll be in that, but then no.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they'll put an end to it with that. At least they gave us, a fun way to send him off. Although I feel like that's a great way to do it, but Dave will appreciate this every time I talk about whenever they make some decision, they're like, oh, they did a perfect ending with Logan. Why bring him back? And I always just quote that Simpsons episode with Camp Krusty when he goes, why would you lend your name to such a shoddy product, Krusty? He said, why'd you lend your name to such a shoddy product? Oh, they drove a dump truck full of money up to my house. I'm not made of stone.
And one kid got eaten by a bear. Oh my God! Well, actually, he just ate his hat. Was it a nice hat?
Oh yeah!
Oh my God!
What are you gonna say, Dave?
That meme was going around about CM Punk going to Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah, right. Yes, his tweet said go suck a blood-soaked dick in Saudi Arabia. He said to somebody when he was mad at them with some argument on Twitter. That's funny.
Well, thanks for joining us, Dave.
Wait, what was your fourth one, Ryan?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I had 12 to be fair.
Jesus.
What? Well, you'll be back for another episode, I guess. Maybe we can't ban you.
All right. So the fourth one I did, I didn't pick it just because I know Andre's not in it, but it was going to be the Krakoan age was overrated and full of sloppy storytelling that has forced modern X-writers back into a wall. Back into a wall creatively.
I do have I like to go back and reread. Now it's probably
Dave's exploding over there.
It's probably all on the app now, so I can go read it. But I'm curious as to how they explain about bringing someone back that's been dead for 20 years or 10 years.
It's so
how do they explain the soul or what the body what it's been doing? What is
the first half of the Krakoan age is
they never.
It's like
they never explained it satisfactorily. I'll say
that. That's what I'm curious about. If
you kind of have to just shrug your shoulders and go look, if Nightcrawler and Storm and Professor X all think this is really Cyclops and not the 10,000th clone of Cyclops.
That's what I was just saying.
You got to accept it and move on.
If a teleporter makes a copy of you at the other location and destroys you, is that you, or did they just kill the real you?
I think they fucked it up when they and I don't even know if I should be saying this because I've worked for Marvel and I like these writers and I know some of them, and I don't even know which writer did it, but whoever made the decision to have X-23 be cloned and then later reveal that the old X-23 was still in that whatever place, the vault,
the vault, yeah.
where she'd aged 100 years or whatever. And
nobody
noticed that this
that was
X-23
the
was
vault
cloned.
stuff. Never, I didn't really do
that was Duggan, I think.
As soon as that happened, it was like, okay, so that's not really Cyclops, because you wouldn't even have known if Cyclops hadn't actually died.
Yeah,
Hey Dave, remember during the Clone Saga where they just were like, "Hey, we found the body of the first clone in the bottom of the smokestack," like long after they did everything, and you're like, "What the fuck is this now?" That's what it feels like to me. You're like, you just throw what the hell? Yeah, my fourth one was it wasn't a great one, so I didn't use it. But I said, "Is Magneto's philosophy of mutant separatism and supremacy a justifiable response to human prejudice, or an active reverse
that would have been a
bigotry
good one
that will only perpetrate the cycle of hatred?"
Good lord. Wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Well, you do now. You have to go. No.
these are just the Dave questions. It's fine.
We need these for clickbait. So you can, like, Marvel comic artist says Magneto should kill all the humans.
Ooh, a Star Trek question. Does Star Trek need pads to teleport? Well, you're asking. The thing about that is it just makes it easier. You don't have to locate the biosignature or anything. It's just right there. But anyway.
What do they take with them when they go down to the planet? Why do they always have to go back? A little bit easier? Like a portable one or something? They stand on?
Well, you can be...
It's easier to know where one of
Tune in to Live Long and Podcast, one of our sister channels here, and you'll get the answers to all
Simon
this
Pegg Scotty managed to teleport someone while they were in warp speed from like half a galaxy away. So if you can do that, what do you need pads for?
Check out Locutus. But anyway,
how does Abrams stuff fit into your arguments when you guys talk about Star Trek stuff? Does it ever, or is it just like its own little island that you don't address?
Basically, it's an island that I don't particularly care for.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our debates here. You can support the show at. You know what? We actually have one segment we should do.
So the game.
He's the coolest teacher we got around here, and the nicest. Wait, you're forgetting your homework.
Well, Davin, you and I should discuss this, I guess, but next Tuesday is Canada Day. Are we doing an episode on Canada Day? Because I don't know if I'll be here.
Nah, we can skip a week.
Okay, well then 2 weeks time.
I'll do it for you if you want.
Yeah,
you don't care about Canada.
We should do a whole episode where Ryan just talks about how great Canada is. Just let him do it.
I would absolutely do it.
I would love to watch that. All right, so after that, in 2 weeks' time, enjoy your Canada Day if you're Canadian. If not, wait a few days and enjoy your American 4th of July. Or if you're from Quebec or France, wait till like the 15th and then enjoy Bastille Day. But somewhere between there, and check out Season 3, Episode 1, Day of Recovery, in which we...
You're right, Melted Copper. Alpha Flight gets no respect, and they damn well should.
I would very much... Oh, actually, when
they
I was talking...
get no respect.
When I was talking...
Hey! Whoa!
I guess I forgot to bring them up, because X Factor's the spinoff from the X-Men series I would have always really liked to see the most, but I feel like an Alpha Flight one would have been really great, too.
That would have been great.
I forgot we had a whole episode where we saw them, so...
Oh, yeah.
I think we should just do an episode that takes place in that town. Remember the one where Cyclops runs off to, where there's like Husk and all those weirdos?
Yeah.
That
was the worst episode of X-Men TAS.
No,
that was literally the worst one.
I think we all know.
I
think we all know the Christmas episode is the worst episode.
Whoa! Don't worry, Dave. I've got it taken care of. All right.
Oh Lord.
Oh yeah. Anyway, episode 1, Day of Recovery, in which we learned about the blowback of
Cousin Dave stands for Alpha Flight.
I stand. You stand. He stands. STAN. Anyway, watch Day of Recovery, episode 3, season 1. I believe it's back on Disney Plus now, isn't it, Devin? Do you say you want to check?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'm watching it through and having a grand old time.
Yeah, well
join
us anytime you want, Dave.
Yeah, anytime you want to come on and chat about it, you're in. Standing
I
invitation.
I could do the second episode of season 2.
You like that one?
Three.
Season 3.
You mean.
Season 3. Yes. Yeah.
Is this a standout for you this episode? The Stuff of Heroes?
I mean, I
Stuff
don't.
of legend.
That's called The Stuff of Heroes.
Yeah. They fight Juggernaut.
Yeah, there's some really cool episodes coming up. I'm excited for you guys.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Looks like there's the Juggernauts in this episode. Yep. And
is season 3 when we get X-23?
Yeah, toward the end.
Yeah, that's so fucking good.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that because that's her origin story, and I've never seen it.
That's her debut. It's just like Harley and Batman. This is where she started.
Again, I'm a big fan of Laura Kinney, so I'm really looking forward to that.
It's a strong
the show looks like it's getting interesting.
I think you know, have a lot more 9s and 10s, honestly.
During the debate, it was hard to not shoot myself in the foot because Dave was saying how much he enjoys the show. And I guess some of the interesting stuff that comes from the end of season 2 is it only works because it's a payoff from stuff they built before. I don't know if it needed to be 2 seasons of that. 1 could have been enough, I think, but there's a lot of wheat that need to be separated from that chaff. So I think we finally got there. But
I mean, I like the high school stuff. The only thing I don't like in the show is that mutants are a secret. I think that's
that's over now. Like as soon as they got rid of that, we're like, oh.
To me, the payoff it makes it kind of worth it that they went that route.
But it's a long slog before you get there.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
We even asked Stephen E. Gordon and Frank Poor about that. We're like, was the slow burn like intentional?
Magneto's sort of.
What did they say?
Yeah, it was. They were trying to like. Wasn't that what they said? That they were
a lot of it was like following Buffy stuff because like the creator of the show was a big.
Buffy. Yeah, Boyd Kirkham was all about.
So he was constantly like doing the high school kind of jinx. I don't know. I feel like Buffy was tackling more interesting stories, and because like it's more interesting when you can really bring an adult bend or explore themes that are more adult and existential than you can really do in a kid show. I don't know. Like it just seems like the model where it's all teenagers is more interesting when you can explore deeper themes than what you can do in a kid show.
Actually, I think what they said was like after like 2 years or whatever, like they wanted to cancel the show, but for some reason the studio. Like it made no sense to cancel the show, so they just didn't care anymore. And then the writers and everybody could just do what they wanted.
That's wild because like the show looks like money was spent.
No, they wanted to cancel it after season 1, is what they told us.
Even episodes in season 3 and 4 look as good as anything.
Oh, the animation's fantastic.
Like, wasn't it like Marvel stepped in? Like there was some deal they had, and they were just going to cancel it. And Marvel's just like, well, you have to keep paying us. Because we had this deal, so like you would have this show, so we could make our toys and sell our toys and stuff. So we have this deal. You have to produce this show. And they're like, damn. Well, I guess we have to keep doing this show. And then, so they got better because the studio heads didn't care. So,
and then after Evolution, are you guys doing Wolverine and the X-Men?
Probably.
I mean, undecided, but it depends. I guess when X-Men. 97 season 2 drops.
It'll be like 20, next year sometime, right?
So maybe.
Eventually.
People keep mentioning that they want us to do the X-Men anime.
Well, that's a quick watch though.
It's a quick one.
Well, we could do.
Well,
we do the like stand-up comic stories every once in a while and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do like maybe I'll finally read if you guys can give me like whatever the seminal graphic novel if I can find it of the Krakoan era that can give me everything I really need to know the whole story.
The first 2 books, probably
maybe I can read that and then we can do like Andre ask questions about the Krakoan era. I really don't have that much experience with it. I feel like having a discussion. About
there's a lot there.
Yeah,
there's
a lot of good, and there's a lot of. I don't.
It went a bit off the rails.
It's like anything. Whenever Marvel does a massive event, it's like instead of it being through like 3 books, it's through like 10, 20 books, and then it's like every writer brings wants to put their own piss stain on it, and then by the end of it, like it's just a lot of piss stains.
Well,
So it's
Hickman
like
walking away really hindered it too, and like he didn't expect it to or want it to go so long. It was supposed to be more of a short.
Well, I'll say yeah, because the sales were really good,
Thing.
and Dave, you probably know this. Like the sales were really good, and then they just kept going because
Yeah.
because Hickman, because Krakoa was basically supposed to be done right around that one Moira arc, right?
Inferno, yeah.
Yeah, Inferno. That was supposed to be it, and Inferno isn't even the halfway point.
No,
But also, like they took like the Axe of Swords event, which was really fun, and I,
I like
X. Like,
Exorcism.
and that was only supposed to be a couple issues, and they made like
The ending was stupid, kind of, but
I
I
also,
love
like,
it anyway.
my number one question when I started looking at it, like all the stuff for it, is Davin. I was like, why is the evil Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe running the X-Men now? And he's like, oh no, that's Professor Xavier. Like they look exactly the same. Like they look almost exactly the same.
Yeah, that was weird. And it puts you in a mind to like not trust him because he looks like Maker.
Yeah,
it never
weird.
shows his face. It's like, wow.
Well, and then the best part
It's
is,
cool look though.
I don't know if any of you guys read X-Men, like the current run. There's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
there's like the new villains, like the 3K team. Whoever the leader of that is looks like he has the same fucking helmet on.
Yeah,
it's the age of
like,
weird helmets.
How many villains are you gonna put in the
X helmets? It's all about it.
It's the age
Well,
of weird helmets, man. That's where we're at.
I guess there's only one thing left to say, fellas. Catch you next time.
Next time.
Bye, guys.